Hey friends, and welcome back to Stronger Every Day. So today we are going to finish our two-part series on spiritual warfare. There wasn't a whole lot left that I had for this, but I wanted to finish this, and I actually got caught up doing a couple different videos, and so I wanted to get this one done. So we've already talked about spiritual warfare and all the many things that means. So I wanted to kind of go over just a few points with you here today. So preparing for spiritual warfare, it's putting on the full armor of God, right? It's it's more than just speaking the prayer. So we have truth, righteousness, gospel of peace, faith, salvation, the word of God, all of those. It's living in truth, living in righteousness, living in peace, proclaiming and living the good news of salvation. It's when the victory, it's when the victory is not from you attempting to show power over something. It's you being obedient via all of the spiritual weapons that God has given you to use in something. And so you can use this in any situation in life. I've referenced back to several different things that I have going on and how I have used spiritual warfare to use the weapons of spiritual warfare to get through that. It's having a situation or a circumstance come up, and just because you use these weapons doesn't necessarily take the circumstance away. I've used our dog Gordy. He's 18, he's deaf, blind, he had been shot, he's got degenerative back issues, he has skin cancers. The newest skin cancer is not a good thing, and there's not a good fix for that, and eventually that skin cancer is very fast growing, and we'll probably lose Gordy to that. He has a heart murmur, he's had his little paw broken, several things that have happened to him that we don't even know about before we got him. The only reason we found out that he had been shot is because we had taken an x-ray of his heart, because he's got a heart murmur, and saw the bullet in there, the pellet. And it's not taking that situation away. He's still sick. That skin cancer is actively growing. It's something that we change the bandage on, and I don't know if you've seen him lately, but he's got a bandage kind of wrapped like a tank top around to cover his side where that place is growing. It's not going to take that situation away. It's not necessarily going to take whatever situation you're going through away. It's how you deal with that situation. So I can look at it as this. I can look at it the way the devil wants me to look at it, right? To focus on the issue and the problem and not God. And I can go down this path where I'm mad at myself because, you know, maybe I could have done more. Maybe I should have taken him to the vet sooner. In all honesty, that wouldn't have mattered. We can't operate on Gordy, but that's the devil playing tricks on your mind. You know, be upset that we didn't get to get him sooner. You know, be upset that, you know, this isn't fair. This is going to be the fourth kid in a year that we have lost, and it sucks. Like, there's really not another word for it. It's hard. These are our babies. I cannot have children. And yes, we could adopt, but it's not something that we could adopt two-legged children, but it's not something that either one of us have been tugged in our heart to do. We've been tugged in our heart to save four-legged children, and so that's what we do. It doesn't take this situation away. It doesn't take it away, but what truth tells me is that God is in control. And what I have prayed is that he lays his hands on Gordy, and he gives him the best quality of life that little feller can have until it's time for him to come home. And I pray that he lets him fall asleep and takes him, that there's no agony and pain, there's no having to take him to the vet and have him euthanized. I'm not against that. We've had to do that on some of our others because there's a fine line on quality of life versus suffering because you can't let go. And I've lived with pain many years. I had endometriosis, which led to my hysterectomy at a very young age. I had a hysterectomy at 25. Previous to that, I'd had 8 laparoscopies for endometriosis. I had been on all kinds of medicines, birth control, shots, the depot shot, tons of different things that they had tried to help control that. It doesn't take the situation away, right? My focus is knowing that God is in control. His hand is on the situations and circumstances that happen throughout our lives and our friends' lives and our relatives' lives and our kids' lives. His hand is always there, right? So the truth is knowing that God is right there. The peace of knowing he is right. He's with Gordy and he's with me. He's with Nick. He's with us living through this situation, not to mention the other situations that I've talked about recent. God is there. The truth of it, he is there. The righteousness of him being there with us. I have to choose. You have to choose. You have a choice. You can focus on what the devil wants you to focus on and go down the rabbit holes that he's trying to send you to intentionally get you thinking all the wrong things and in essence pulling you away from God, because when you're spending time focusing on those things, you're no longer focusing on God. God has chosen, coming up on 28 years, to not lift completely my depression and anxiety. Over the past 8 months, it has gotten better. There have been days that it hasn't. Here's the thing with that is the spiritual warfare that was going on in my mind concerning depression and anxiety is the lies of the devil. It's never going to get better. There's nothing you can do. You've tried, I couldn't even tell you, 10, 20 different medicines. You've tried therapy. You've tried therapists. You've tried different therapists. You've tried psychologists. You've tried psychiatrists. You've tried so many different things until 8 months ago when God said, I want you to talk about your circumstances and what's going on. And has that, this past 8 months, been wonderful? No. It's been a lot better days than previous, but there's still bad days. There's bad times. There's things that God told me, I am right here with you. I've never left you. Matter of fact, I've said this before, I think for probably 90% of my life, God has carried me through. And that would be a conservative estimate. He's always right here with me, right beside me. And if when I can't, he's carrying me through. What he's saying is that I want you to talk about this. And so what the devil has said is, who do you think you are? Look at your past, look at your history. You've certainly not been a great example for the mental health world. You've certainly not been a great example of what a Christian should be with mental health. You're never going to get better. You know, you're just a fraud. You get on camera and you talk about all the things people can do to get better. And meanwhile, you still have bad days. And he uses all these different tactics because he's mad, right? He's not been able to consume me. I became a Christian at 16 and started my relationship with God. So he already lost the power there, but he can make the time here miserable, and certainly doesn't want you to lead anyone else to Christ or let them know that things can improve. But God said, there's things I want you to do. I'm always going to be right here with you, but you need to do some things. I want you to start eating better. I want you to start doing some sort of exercise, whether that's gardening, taking care of the goats, taking care of the chickens, taking care of cooking your family food. That's another thing. What I eat, I've not eaten anything fried maybe once in 8 months. I've eaten fast food twice in 8 months. One of those, we were on a event with our what we do for the community, and we were all very hungry. I didn't have anything in the vehicle as a snack that I could eat, and so they went out and got fast food and brought it back. I ate that. Another time was my mom and dad, Nick's mom and dad, our in-laws, my in-laws, brought some fast food home, and I was hungry and I ate it. But going from someone who ate fast food probably 4 times a week or more to twice in 8 months is a big step for me. Recently, and that's why I haven't been on either channel really much lately, is stepping away from caffeine. So, you know, he's given me time. It's been some months, and now that's my vice, is diet drinks. I could drink 1 or 4 a day, and it just depends on my energy level and things that he's told me to do, right? I want you to read and study my word, pray, talk with me. I want you to take time to enjoy your surroundings. I want you to change your focus. I want you to eat better, get some exercise. I want you to start taking some vitamins. That certainly helps. Certain vitamins certainly help with mental health. These were also recommended to me from my physician. So I did a quick search and found some things that may or may not work, because sometimes things can interact with medicine that you're on. I've talked many times about some of the medicine that I'm on now for depression and anxiety. With the depression medicine, there's a lot of things that I can't take. Allergy medicines, anything with a decongestant will knock me to the floor. I can't take ibuprofen. Would have to take Tylenol. I can't take like a lot of narcotics, so like even milder narcotics like a tramadol. Now I could take one and probably be okay, but if I was taking them if I broke my leg or broke an arm or had a hip out of socket, whatever, and I needed to take them multiple times, it would definitely interfere with my depression medicine, which in turn is going to make my depression worse. So there's tons of things that I've had to readjust and come up with, but God said, I'm always going to be right here with you, but I need you to start making some choices and start doing some things. And so that's kind of where this journey started. That's kind of why after some prayer and some, he was very gracious with me with a confirmation, and that we started this channel so that I don't want people to feel the way I've felt for the past 28 years, which is most of the time nobody understands, nobody has felt what I felt, nobody feels what I feel. I'm weird, I'm odd, I'm not normal, I'm not a good wife, I'm not a good sister, I'm not a good daughter, not a good daughter-in-law, not a good cousin, aunt, friend, all of these things. And to be honest, sometimes I'm not in other people's eyes. Sometimes there's birthday parties or baby showers or a certain, maybe a fundraiser or an event that really I would love to go to, but sometimes I have to say I can't do that today. It's knowing my abilities and yet my limits, and it's been a challenge. Another thing that I haven't talked much about, I don't think at all on the channel, is I have an issue with, and this has been another spiritual warfare thing that I'm just trying to give you examples in my own life of things that have happened. Interestingly enough, spiritual warfare started in Genesis 3:1, which is, did God really say you must not eat that fruit from any of the trees in the garden? Right then it started, right there, spiritual warfare, Genesis. A lot of things right in Genesis. So it's not new, right? Just trying to give you examples of my life, so maybe it will help you relate to examples of yours. I think sometimes we view the Bible, I think sometimes we think those are almost characters in a movie or in a show. Those are real people that had real circumstances, not unlike ours. Have times changed? Of course. But if you actually read and study the Bible, you see all of the things the murder, the adultery, the backstabbing, the gossiping, the being a thief, being jealousy, just all of these things, power, control, romance, all of these things, they were right there in the Bible. Depression, anxiety, confusion. It was similar then as it is now. So it started, I guess, about 5 or 6 years ago. If I'm up and active, doing something fairly active for a long period of time, sometimes if we're even in like a grocery store and we've been in there, you know, an hour walking around, it's one of two things. Either my blood pressure goes up and my heart rate goes down, which I typically have a lower heart rate. A lot of times it's in the 50s, sometimes it drops to the 40s, and then occasionally it's more normal heart rate, but typically my heart rate is in the low 50s, which is bradycardia. It's been that way for a long time, but it'll drop even lower and my blood pressure will go high, or switch. So my heart rate goes sky high and then my blood pressure drops. And I've been to the doctor. I've been to several doctors. I've been to the ER several times, because a lot of times I will either faint or get very close to fainting, or get almost in like a just completely zoned out, don't really know what's going on state. And you know, spiritual warfare says, well, this is never going to get better. You might as well just give up on life. You're useless. You can't help anybody or anything. In fact, I can. I do tend to take a back seat role because I know my limits, and there's things that I would love to be up on the scene, being active in doing some things that we do for our community. But my head and my brain and my heart tell me, you can, you know, help, bring those things to them, get what they need, help in any way, play a background seat for that. You're still very much useful, because we still need, quote unquote, what I kind of view myself as a runner or an information gatherer, or, you know, where's somebody, they're here, where's somebody, they're here, where is this piece, it's here, where is that piece, it's there. Like, you know, knowing that knowledge behind the scenes is just as important as the active person on the scene. So things like that I've had to change. Doing yard work, cleaning the house, taking care of the kids, you know, soon the garden. Nick and I have already had this conversation about, you know, we'll need to put a bench of some sort out there so that I can have somewhere to sit and just rest and relax for 5-10 minutes and then get back at it, because I've had to adjust the way I do things. It doesn't mean I'm not useful. It means I've had to change the way I do things. And that's went from somebody who's fiercely independent, fiercely I can do anything I want to do, fiercely I will do anything I want to do, and let me show you, fiercely I don't need, not that I don't need anybody, but I can do it myself kind of mentality. When someone helps, it's appreciated, but that, you know, kind of that mentality. Spiritual warfare, it's in so many things that we do, and it's so easy. I mean, right then you have a choice. When you have a piece of information, a circumstance, or a situation, to either think, oh, this is terrible and this is never going to get better, and then shoo, go down the rabbit hole the devil wants to take you on, or you can recognize that the situation's true, recognize that it is happening, and then you can run to God. And I've said that before. There's a couple options, and basically the same thing I'm saying now. When something happens, and a friend of mine told me this when I was probably 19, when his son was in the hospital, his infant son. He said, I've learned that you can either blame God or you can run to God. And I promise you, running to God is such the better choice. Such the better choice than blaming him. We want to blame him when anything in our life goes wrong. And what you don't understand is he's seeing the bigger picture. And he might be using that circumstance that's happening for a reason. Maybe he wants you to be an example to others around you of how to handle said situation. Maybe he wants you to be that person that had that diagnosis, that looked grim, that kicked that diagnosis's butt. You just don't know. Or maybe he wants you to be an example of how to handle that diagnosis. There's so many things that we don't know. Blaming God will get you nowhere. He's given us the notebook. He's given us the 1, 2, 3, the ABC, the how-to of how to fight many, many things that happen in our life. And it all begins with him. Is it easy all the time? No. Have I failed? Absolutely. Am I getting better? Absolutely. And that's what the devil doesn't want you to concentrate on. He wants you to concentrate on all the things you failed at, all the things you've never been good at, instead of all the things that you've gotten better at and changed and grown closer to God. Friends, that's it for spiritual warfare. I like to end the videos this way every time. And I hope that you feel and believe this. And if you haven't heard it, then you've heard it. Haven't heard it from anyone, then you've heard it from me today. God loves you. I love you. Your friends love you. Your family loves you. And we need you here. We'll see you in the next one, friends. Bye.